Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Wiz back again with another video, and in today's video I'm making this one for my live streamers. That's because we're going to be outlining this camera right here. This is the Nearstream VM20 live streaming camera, and just as the name implies, this is a 4K camera for content creators that is geared towards live streaming. You can also use a camera like this to, upgrade your Zoom call setups, for work related things, or if you're streaming any events, podcasts, anything, you name it. This is an all-inclusive option. It also comes with a remote as well. This thing is packed with features that I'm gonna go over in this video. Now, before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Nearstream for sending me this camera. They actually reached out to me to send me this camera free of charge for me to test out, find out what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, use it inside of my workflow and report back to you guys my finding. I was not paid to make this video. No money exchanged hands, and they did not get to see this video before it went live. So now that that's out the way, I'm gonna go ahead and take the contents out of the box, lay them out on the table, and let you see what you can expect to find when unboxing the Nearstream VM20. Let's go. All right, so I currently have all of the contents out the box and on my table here. So just like with anything, you can expect to find your user manual, your quick start guide, and your warranty card here. Then we go on to the star of the show, which is the Nearstream camera right here. As you can see, it is a simple box setup with a little bit of interesting ports here. So on the back, you have three ways in which you can connect the Nearstream to your device of choice. You have HDMI, you have a USB-C cable right here, and then you have a RJ45, which is pretty much an Ethernet cable. You can use these ports to, connect this thing to any device, whether it be a TV, whether it be a computer, you name it. There's also a quarter thread at the bottom here to mount this thing on a tripod. And then you also have a headphone jack where, say, if you want to plug in the mic like I'm using right now, this DJI mic 2, you can actually plug in the receiver to this device and be able to, get high quality audio like what you're hearing right now. And then you also have another USB-C to power the camera right here as well. Now the top is interesting. As you can see, you have all these little holes right here. These are actually 8 microphones because this thing has onboard sound. Now when I plug it up in a little bit, I'll let you hear what that onboard audio sounds like. Of course, it's not going to sound as good as what you're hearing right now with the microphone, but the fact that this thing has onboard audio, it puts it above some regular webcams and other things that don't have audio. The audio doesn't sound bad. You're going to hear it yourself for a second. Of course, the microphone will sound better, but you do have that option for onboard audio. As far as the lens on this thing is concerned, the standard view is actually 35mm, which what I'm filming on right now, I have the FX3 with a 35mm on it. So I'm going to try to, when I do plug this up, I'm going to put it right next to my FX3 so you can kind of see a side-by-side comparison of the 35mm shots. But this thing also zooms with the use of the remote, which I'm going to get into in a second. But when you zoom in, the maximum zoom goes all the way to, I believe, 4mm. So that's going to be pretty close on my face. You're going to see that here in a second. And also, too, the aperture of the lens, I believe it varies from 1.8 to, I believe, about 2.6. Somewhere in that range. So that's a pretty good aperture. And yeah, man, like I said, this thing feels plasticky, doesn't really feel cheap, doesn't feel like the most top tier premium thing I've ever felt in the hand, but it has a decent feel to it for its price point. Now on to the remote, which pretty much unlocks the functionality of this camera. Now, as you can see, this thing has a lot of dials on it, and I'm going to get into, demonstrating what a lot of this stuff does. But yeah, the remote feels pretty good in the hand. It's a nice size. I believe it takes AAA batteries. Don't really remember if it came with them or not with the remote. I don't know. I already had batteries in this thing. So I'm going to get into the functionality of the remote a little bit later once I plug this thing up to my laptop. And lastly, what you also get is this USB-C cable right here. Like I said, I can use this to plug it up to my MacBook, what I'm going to do in a second. But also too, if you have like an older MacBook or older laptop that does not have USB-C, you can always use this little adapter piece right here, which basically you can, have USB-A capability, plug it into your laptop, and then you can plug the USB-C in right into the camera to power it on. So that's what I'm about to do right now. About to power this thing on, get it cracking, let you see how it stacks up to the FX3, but not only that, just how it looks in general, because the FX3 is a $3,900 camera. This camera is a $250 camera. So, as far as the price is concerned, not really comparable. This isn't the type of camera that this is. What this is a 4K live streaming camera with pretty good quality for what that price point, offers you, gives you in terms of value. So let's go ahead and plug this thing up right now and see how it looks. Okay, so this is pretty much how the footage looks on the Nearstream VM20. What do you think? What do you think? This is the FX3 over here. This is the VM20 over here. If you want to see my setup, this is my setup right here. This is my computer screen. Excuse my background, but these are my two cameras side by side right there. So yeah, man, what do you think about this VM20? I think that it looks pretty good. Now, like I said, this remote right here is going to unlock a bunch of features for you. Just want to go over a couple of them. So these two buttons at the top here, which would be how to, either mute your audio or cut off your video. Not really sure why you would need to cut off your video. Maybe if you are using this thing for a webcam and like, any type of Zoom call, you don't want people to see you, then boom, you can cut that off. Now my camera's off, and then boom, you can cut that back on just like that. Also mute the audio, since I have audio coming out of this camera. You really didn't catch that, but there's also actually a light at the bottom of the camera, which, to be honest, the light is actually illuminated red right now. When I press it, it goes blue. So to be honest, I'm not sure if that is actually muted now that it's blue. And then when I press it to mute it, it's red. I will clarify that by this end of this video, because I'm going to actually take you into the software and I'll do it that way. And I'll probably be able to tell that later on, but just keep that in mind. So I'll put it actually to the blue, because I would say that that probably is, unmuted. But anyway, they have this flip button right here. You see my screen right here. If I press this flip button right here, as you can see, my view flips around like that. So pretty cool, depending on how you want to do that. Now, the coolest feature I would say with this whole thing is this little button in the middle right here that says AI. Pretty much that's how you go from like your standard, I think they call it panorama, to your auto framing. Let me show you how auto framing works. When I hit that button right now, I can't really see that. Okay, right now it's in panoramic mode. Hit the button, now it's in auto framing mode. And as you see, it pretty much framed me up perfectly. And every time I move, it's going to reframe me up. It's going to center me. So that's pretty good if you're doing something that you require that feature. Say if you're moving here, you're moving there, and you need the camera to follow you around. Basically, you have that feature there. For me, I don't really do anything like that, but I'm pretty sure there's somebody that does, because they made this to address somebody's need. So I'm just going to take that back to panoramic mode. And like I was telling you, this thing does have a very crucial zoom. So these two rockers right here on the side is how you zoom. Now, this on the right side is just your standard zoom. This on the left side is going to be your like quick zoom. So this is how your standard zoom would look, kind of like that slow pan, slow zoom, what have you. If I push this on the left hand side, like I said, it's a little bit faster. And like I said, goes from a 35 millimeter all the way to a 4 millimeter. You're probably about to see my pores right now, or just, it might be all beard action or neck action. That is 4 millimeters. Now, if I want to hit this home button in the middle, this home button right here in the middle, it automatically goes back without me having to do that. Or I can, go in and out myself like that. Like I said, left hand side is a little bit faster. Right hand side is a little bit more slow. So if you want to like talking to the camera and you want to like do some type of dramatic thing like that, where you're just talking and it's moving, you can do that. Or if you want to just like be like, you know, have it go fast, or if you want to just hit home and it goes back, there you go, it's back. Moving right along. So if I hit these three buttons, three lines right here next to the AI button, it actually brings up a menu in which you should be able to see that because I'm recording this. You can do, you know, go over your images, your brightness, contrast to kind of dial in your look there, your network. To be honest, I'm not really so much, you know, educated on the live streaming thing, but I see IP and all that. So that would be for that. Have some more settings here. The auto framing, as you can see, it's off and things of that nature. And the last thing down here is just your device info, which pretty much has the model name. So another cool thing I like about the Nearstream is that you can actually use some presets to change the look of the footage. Let me go back to the Nearstream and show you here. So this little page right here, I hit it, and as you can see, I'm in portrait mode now, which to me made things a little bit more contrasty. I hit it again. This is dress, which to me made things a little bit more contrasty than portrait. Food, which made it super contrasty. Then you have texture, which, you know, I'm gonna have to zoom in on this stuff and really see how it looks. Maybe it made the texture look a little bit stronger. I don't know. It just looks all just like contrast to me at this point. Outdoor, which actually I like the way it kind of, you know, made that look. I like the way this looks outdoor better than standard, because as you can see, standard is a little bit more washed out. Maybe if you want to do anything in post, but I don't really think you'll be using a camera like this in post-production, because the whole point of it is to just cut on and work. So like I said, I'm digging that outdoor look. Kind of looks a little bit slightly contrasty with a more natural look there. I like the way the colors look. So I'm digging that right there. They have a white balance button, which I guess this thing would have to have, yeah, auto white balance you see there in the corner. So I'm not sure if that resets the white balance or fixes the white balance if it shifts, but it's there. And then this button next to white balance, one-click focus, which I saw when I zoomed in, it looked like it went out of focus. Let me hit that one-click focus to see what happens. To be honest, I would have to do a little bit more research on that one-click focus button to see what that's all about. But I would assume that it's, you know, one button to click to go in focus. I mean, it looks like it kind of snapped into focus there. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research on that. Then right here, these top three buttons right here on this row, first row of three, looks like you can set some presets. So just like how I said, if you wanted to dial in a certain type of look with these image, you know, things right here, if there's a certain type of look you want to get, I would assume you can save it, and there are three preset buttons here, so you can save specific looks. Then these other buttons here looks like 5 different device buttons. So one thing about, I know if you hook this thing up via the RJ45, you can use multiple VM20s if you're saying, you know, covering a live stream, an event or something, and you're live streaming and you want to switch to different cameras. I believe that is what these 5 buttons are for, to switch in between cameras. So basically, you know, that ability along with this remote makes, you know, live streaming that much easier, which is a plus. So what I'm going to do now that we went over the remote, I'm going to take you into the app to just kind of show you how it looks. It's a desktop app, and basically with the desktop app, you can do all the same things you can do with the remote. Let's actually go into the app now and check it out. Okay, first things first, this is the onboard audio of the Nearstream VM20. How does it sound? Like I said, this thing has 8 microphones on it, and this is the onboard audio. Be mindful that you can plug a microphone up to this thing so you can have a higher quality audio. But if you need the audio because you don't have a microphone, it is there for you. So real quick with this app, as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do with this app. Horizontal flip, you can do a vertical flip. I have autofocus enabled. The audio, of course, is enabled. The vertical screen, if I click that, it will turn into a vertical screen, but I don't want to do that because it's going to restart the whole thing to take effect. And then for the video settings, again, you got the saturation slider, that brightness slider. To be honest, these sliders don't really make the video look too flattering, so I don't know why you would use those. And then you also have the update here. I don't want to click on it because it may make my frame freeze. I experienced that a little while ago. But basically, this is what you can do through the app. It's not that spectacular. You can also put it into that auto framing mode, but you can do way more with the remote, but the app is there for you to use if you need to. So pretty much that's where I'm going to leave it at with this video, the Nearstream VM20 live streaming camera. What do you think? What do I think? For $250, you know, a live streaming camera, high quality 4K 30p footage, something you can use to, you know, live stream an event, use as a camera, upgrade your home setup, or just, you know, live stream, podcast, gaming, things of that nature. 10 times optical zoom. Like I said, the built-in microphone, being able to plug up a microphone to it, noise cancellation, the remote. I mean, for $250, you really can't beat that value, you know, for what this is for. This is a USB live streaming camera, and I would say, and definitely in this price point, one of the best in the market that you can buy, you know, if, you know, what it does fits your needs. If you are interested in this camera, go ahead, check the links down below in the description. You know, I'll have it on Amazon as well as the Nearstream website, which I believe is on sale right now. So go ahead and check that out if you're so inclined. If you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That helps out my channel. And go ahead and, you know, leave a comment, subscribe for more filmmaking tips, tutorials, gear reviews. And until my next video, I'm gonna catch you guys later on. Peace out.